Hello, I'm Sirron Norris and welcome to Sirron Norris Academy. In this video, we start to animate. Now, every time you turn on the TV and you watch animation, 1 second of that animation is 24 drawings. Now that's a lot of work. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna animate without all that labor, okay? What we're gonna learn to do is move our characters, move the heads, move the bodies, and try to create a story. Let's go. Okay, tracing is an essential thing all artists need to learn how to do. Now, normal animators use a light board to trace. If you don't have access to that, I'm hoping that you have access to a window. What you need to do is you need to take your drawing, make sure that it's dark enough that you can put a fresh piece of paper over it, make sure that you line it up, and then trace everything that you want to change. And then if you want to, you can actually animate while you're tracing, okay? Okay everyone, we are inside my studio and we are about to prepare to draw. First thing I'm going to do is sharpen my pencil. It's good and sharp. Now, let's draw. Now, first thing that we want to do is we want to set up our paper, okay? So we have this 8.5 by 11 paper. I have this paper landscape right now. First thing I want to do is I just want to set my stage so we're all kind of drawing the same size and that we're drawing on a horizon line, and that when we're teaching animation, we're all kind of doing it the same way so no one gets lost. I'm gonna open that up. It gives me a nice line in the middle so I know exactly how my paper is separated. Now what I wanna do is I wanna fold this so I have 3 lines on my paper. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of meet each one halfway so they kind of all meet each other. Make a nice line like that and then fold all that out. The goal is to have 1 line in the middle and then 1, 2, 3 lines on the center of the paper, okay? Now, they don't have to be perfect. All I really want is that things are kind of separated in this way so I know where to put the head and where I know to put the horizon line and the feet, okay? So let's get started. What I want to do is I want to start out creating a head character, okay? Now, first thing I want to do is draw this head shape. I'm going to definitely go on this side of the paper right here, and I'm going to draw this head, and I want this head to be no longer, taller than that first line that you have there. So however that ended up, let's just try to keep the head around that area, okay? And if you have it a little bit more space, then maybe you could add the shoulders to it. But right now, you know, let's not have the biggest head in the world, but you know, let's make sure that we have a decent head. I have an extra eraser here just because the pencil that I have doesn't have one, and I suggest that you have one too. Okay, now normally if I draw, I'm not going to draw very dark because I always use ink pens or something like that. But in this case, we're going to be doing some tracing, and basically we're doing this whole piece in pencil. So I kind of suggest that you get it relatively dark so it's easy to trace. I'm going to start out with my character just straight on. I know that we did work on 3/4 perspective, but my goal right now is to just draw this character straight on. So I'm just going to split this face right in the middle, and then I'm going to put an eye line here. I'm going to put an eye line, probably something like that. I'm going to curve it a little bit just so the face reads as it is round, okay? Now, we are drawing cartoon characters. I am going to draw my own style character. We already learned different eyes, nose, and mouth. I suggest you do the same. One thing I said before is that this character needs to be simple, okay? If this character is complex, then it's going to be really hard to animate. In fact, I'm not really going to put clothes or that much onto this character until way at the end. So I suggest you do the same thing. That being said, this is your character, this is your style. So all eyes, nose, and mouth that we put on this character is going to be up to you. Okay, I am going to draw a body. Now, right now, I'm going to put a horizon line on there. This third line that I have there, this is a horizon line. This is actually going to be the line that my character is going to be standing on. But this is going to be a line that is going to be in the back of my character. So not necessarily standing on, but standing by. The whole idea is that this reads as it's standing way in back. This is like the back wall, okay? So what I want to do is I want to draw a body to this character. So I'm just going to go simple, just a nice simple body. I'm going to go to a body that's relatively weighty. So I'm probably going to go around here and do a little bit of a teardrop just to kind of represent a body where it's like kind of a little weighty, and then it kind of goes up to the neck and slims down there a little bit. Okay, cut off any of this excess. I'm just sketching, but I want to be able to kind of come back from that, so I'm not going to go too light. I want to be able to add on to this and refine. Okay, now let's add some legs to this character. Now, one thing that we know for sure is I want these legs to be longer to be able to hit this back horizon line. So they need to be relatively longer to hit this line. So I'm going to make my legs probably longer than I'd like, but good enough to kind of hit that horizon line. I'm going to draw one more leg. I'm going to have this out at an angle. I want to make sure that that's a little bit at an angle, okay? I don't want that ballet leg or anything like that. I'm going to draw my second leg. I'm going to, of course, taper it, so it's going to be thick, and then it's going to go thinner as we go, just to kind of represent skin and bone. Okay, I'm going to get rid of these arrows too. We don't really need those anymore. They were just helping us work things out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this second leg. Again, I'm going to put this out at an angle, but I am going to make this a little bit shorter. Okay, a little bit shorter. Okay, so we got our body in there. Looking good. I need to make sure that this leg is a little bit shorter because it's 3/4 perspective. This leg is technically further away, okay? So as long as you have this at a nice angle and that you have this one a little bit shorter and this one longer, I think you're really good, okay? All right, I'm gonna put some arms on this character right here. Now I know that if I have arms on this character, they're gonna need to go about as long as my knees, so including hands. So I know I'm probably going to go about that long. I'm going to pop these eyes or arms out here, and I'm going to pop these arms out here and just create this nice simple hand. Nothing too complex. Okay, I'm going to erase this in here just to kind of not have it so muddy. You can kind of see where I'm at. So I want you to see kind of character I'm drawing. I'm not doing clothes or anything like that. I just want to draw like the basics of this body here. Maybe add a little contour to his body. This second arm is going to be the same length. Well, not necessarily because it's further away, so it's going to be a little bit shorter. Not that noticeable though, slight. We're going to be seeing the inside of the hand this time, but we don't really need to worry about that right now. Let's just get all these things solid down on this character. Okay, we did work on expression. So one thing I want to do is try to add expression to this character. Now, I want you to go look back at all the notes that you previously did when we did those lessons about cartooning in the first video. And I want you to look through there, and I want you to find some of the greatest work that you've done. I want you to find your favorite eyes, the eyes that you really gravitated to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start out and change my expression. So I'm going to start out with a relatively happy character. So I suggest you take your favorite eyes and you make them happy. I'm going to make some eyes here. Now this is a head straight on, so I don't even need to put these in 3/4 perspective or anything like that. These eyes are not going to be asymmetrical. They're going to be relatively the same size, okay? Now, I like to put my pupils close to the edge but not on the edge. This is just me. If you decide to make that change, go ahead and make that change. Again, I am not teaching you how to draw like me. This character is your character. I'm just showing you this path, and you can design that character however you want. Okay. I want this character to be happy, so I'm going to go ahead and put a nice happy mouth on this character right here. Okay. and maybe a little nose. Let's go something like that. We always called that the Harry Potter nose. Put some ears on this character. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a number 1 up on this corner. That is frame 1. So right now we have a character, we have a background, okay? Now, let's move into frame 2. I'm going to grab a brand new piece of paper. I'm gonna grab a brand new piece of paper. Brand new piece of paper. Brand new piece of paper. I'm gonna put this piece of paper over top. I'm gonna do the shuffle. This shuffle right now is super important. Being able to shuffle paper is super important, okay? It allows these papers to be aligned. If they're off aligned, if they're off a little bit, then your drawing's gonna be off a little bit. So just make sure that you got that shuffle going on, okay? What I like to do is kind of hold these papers together, put a little bit of pressure. Let's go number 2 because this is frame number 2. Now I'm hoping that you can kind of see through there. Now you see I put this pressure right here on the left side of my paper, and then it's going to allow me to kind of pull that paper back so I can still read what's underneath, and it'll allow me to kind of get that flip so I can animate, okay? Now, what I want to do is I'm just going to draw this head, okay? So I'm going to draw this head shape right here. Actually, I'm just going to copy it from copy it from the drawing underneath. This is tracing, of course. Now, I think some of you, if you watched the video before, you saw a relatively easy way to do tracing. If you draw dark, you can kind of get away with it by not going up to the window and just trying to see what's underneath your piece right here. I'm going to make this piece 3/4 perspective, okay? But the difference now is I'm going to go 3/4 perspective up. So I'm actually going to take my line, I'm going to put it way high up, so 3/4 perspective up, okay? I'm going to just kind of trace my body now. I kind of already designed it. I already kind of know the hard part, so I'm just going to kind of trace that. You can still see it underneath, so you don't really need to do that much work on this next frame, frame number 2, because all this information is kind of there. I like this idea of kind of animating a little simple version and then coming back and doing kind of secondary animation with clothes and adding hair, etc. Okay? So this is going to be an easy trace. I do eventually want to move this body, but right now I just want to focus on animating the head. Okay, I'm going to do a flip. I'm going to do a flip just so I can kind of see that my head is working. I need eyes. Now I'm going to take these eyes, I can kind of see my eyes right here, but I'm going to kind of move them. Now the idea is kind of like taking those eyes and making sure that they maintain the same shape. So it's kind of like a even kind of slide over as the eyes go up. This is 3/4 perspective, people. I need everybody to understand that this second eye is going to be smaller because it is further away. I am going to go ahead and draw my pupils, but you know what? I'm going to actually kind of raise my pupils a little bit because I have a character looking up. Okay? I have my mouth, I can kind of see my mouth that exists right about here, but now my character is moving up, so I'm actually going to kind of move my mouth up, and I'm actually going to kind of change the expression a little bit. Okay? I'm going to do a flip on this just so we can kind of see the movement of the character. I have a nose. My nose, usually when you draw a nose, you're going to have to figure out how that nose looks like when you are, when the head is lifted back. But in this situation, the nose kind of works with the head being back too. I'm going to throw the ears on there, and then boom. I think all I'm missing is eyebrows. And maybe we can start to change the mouth. Maybe we can start to open the mouth a little bit. Now, you're only going to be seeing these things for a second, so things do not need to be perfect. They just need to read, okay? Now, one thing that we want to make sure that we leave with is drawing the horizon line. My horizon line is incredibly light, so I actually need to kind of really eye it in. I'm going to do it dark on this one because if I do it dark on frame 2, when I go back out for frame 3, I'm not going to have a problem. Now, if you ever hear me ever draw in any one of my classes, I never say draw dark with pencil, because usually we're inking things, and when you draw dark with pencil, it really gets in the way of inking. It really makes things really muddy. Normally, I would say draw very lightly. Sometimes I use a mechanical pencil actually to draw as light as I possibly can. In this situation, because we're tracing, you kind of have to find a balance to draw dark, but light enough where you have an opportunity to make changes. Okay, I got my character right here. I got my horizon line in there. Okay. New piece of paper. Brand new piece of paper. I'm gonna do a nice shuffle. Remember that shuffle. Get that nice little shuffle in there, okay? Always make sure you're going back and you're doing a nice shuffle, okay? Now, I am going to draw a head. I'm going to get back and get that circle in there. Okay, I don't really want to change the head shape at all. If you want to get more complex later on, you can kind of change the head shape. But right now, we're just trying to animate a character. So we're just trying to keep it simple, okay? I'm going to do my 3/4 perspective line. Okay, now my situation is we had a character looking up. Now I'm going to have a character looking in the middle, okay? So he's going to be looking in the center. So I had a character looking up here, and then now the character is looking down in the center. So if we could think about it, when we draw our second character is going to be up in the sky, and then it's going to be falling down. So we're going to have our character actually tracking it with their eyes. I'm going to move my eyes down. You can kind of see that my eyes from frame 3. Oops, let's not forget. Let's go frame 3. I'm going to drop my eyes down. Now this is my eye line. My eyes were up here. I'm going to drop them down here. Okay. I'm still going to have this character's eyes pretty open, but you know, I'm going to drop the size of the pupils, make them a little bit smaller, and I'm going to take those eyebrows and make them really high. I'm going to put a mouth down that maybe I'd say all the teeth are down except for the top. Okay? I'm actually gonna flip that. One thing that I'm missing is my nose. Okay. Could maybe throw a tongue in there. I need to get my ear in there. Okay. Now let's change the body a little bit. Let's get this. Let's get everything that we're actually going to keep the same first. Okay. So let's finish the body here. Let's actually draw everything that we are going to keep, okay? I'm actually gonna change the hands. I'm not gonna change the center of the body and the legs, so I'm just gonna draw this stuff, get it out of the way. This is stuff that we're not going to change, okay? One thing I wanna do is I wanna make sure that I get my horizon line in there. Always need that horizon line. It's way easier to draw this time because I can kind of see it. I don't want it too messy. Okay, I'm going to draw these arms. Now I'm only going to go halfway. I'm going to have the arms almost copy them almost exactly how they were, but I'm going to go halfway and I'm actually going to bend the arm up, okay? So I'm going to go in the foreground right here And we'll try to keep it simple with these hands. You're just seeing the hands from the side, so as long as you have one, you can kind of do this row thing and kind of get away with it. Have that little hand foreshortened. If you want to flip that so you can kind of see that arm move up, okay? The head move down, the arm move up. Okay. I'm gonna do the other arm here. Now, I'm gonna stop it right about here, right at the elbow, and I'm gonna come out. A lot of that arm is actually going to be covered up. So we're just gonna kind of do a nice hand here. We're gonna be seeing the top of a hand, but we're gonna make a fist. Okay. So if you really wanna kind of get that a little bit easier, you can just draw a square and then come in with the thumb, and then that line is going to be where the fingers kind of bend. 1, 2, and 3, okay? Just to kind of make that a little bit simpler for you. Okay. I'm going to flip that. Okay. Now, I need you to understand, animation is very complex, and you can easily get lazy and tired right in the middle of a project real quick. The one thing that you need to do always is keep yourself fresh and keep yourself dedicated to the project. So sometimes when you're really focused, you need to stop and step away from the project and come back. Let's take a break. Welcome back, everyone. I'm going to resharpen my pencil, just get everything ready to draw again. Okay, let's go. I've got my 3 frames here. What I want to do is I want to add a 4th frame. Add another piece of paper here. New piece of paper, brand new. I'm going to grab a brand new piece of paper. Shuffle, do the magic shuffle. Let's not forget to do that. I'm going to, of course, put a number 4 right here. This is frame number 4. I'm going to start to trace this character. I can barely see it, but good enough. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the head. That looks to be the theme that we've been working with ever since we started this animation. Animating the head. It has been the first thing we've animated, and we are going to animate it again on the beginning of frame 4. I'm going to 3/4 perspective this head out and do my line in the middle. The difference is this time we are going to continue with this straightforward animation that we're doing, but we're going to go 3/4 perspective down. We are tracking an object that is falling down, and so now I want my character to be looking down, continuing to track that object. I can kind of see my eyes right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring those down. What I want to do is I want to kind of change things up a little bit. So I'm going to bring those down over my eyes, or over my eye line. I'm going to bring those down over my eye line. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my brow down. So I'm going to go boom, boom. I'm actually not even going to draw the rest of the eyes. I'm just going to immediately bring my brow down so the character immediately becomes a little sad. I'm going to bring my eyebrows down to an appropriate level. Okay. Now I'm actually going to make sure that my eyes are looking down. Okay. So I'm going to have those looking down. I can do that flip. Let me get my nose in there. Okay. And you know what? Let's just drop that mouth. Let's just drop that mouth. Let's kind of close it a little bit. All the way, actually. Might read better so far down like that. Okay, let's not forget our ear. I'm gonna move it gracefully over to one side. It was right about here, but I'm gonna move it over to this edge right here. Okay. Okay, now let's draw the rest of our body. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of keep our shoulders relatively the same and our arm relatively the same, but let's continue to move up these arms. So I'm actually gonna kind of cross over, continue to move up. I'm gonna flip that just so we can kind of see how that works. You can kind of see it bend up, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and add a nice hand. I think the best way to do this hand is if we start out with a nice square and then we kind of come in and kind of get these kind of bend fingers over top of that square, kind of lock that in a little bit more. Our body's not going to change, so let's just make sure that we have a nice copy of our body in there. I think we'll be moving forward to changing our body here in a little bit, but right now, we're just doing this nice straightforward animation. We're just drawing our head turn and our body slightly moving. We're not going crazy, but we are making drastic moves and we are moving forward with actually animating a character. So, baby steps. One thing that we can't forget is we can't forget our horizon line, okay? We don't want to go halfway through our animation and then our horizon line pops out, okay? I'm actually going to make this other arm up, so I'm going to draw it halfway and then I'm actually going to bring this arm up. Now if we wanted to, we actually could draw that same hand. We just need to move it up, okay? So if you drew it good that first time, well then you should be fine doing it this time. So remember, get that thumb in there. We have that line in there just because we're seeing kind of top of the fist. And then you can put those 3 fingers. We're not gonna go crazy with 5 fingers or anything like that. That's just kind of how we design the character. I don't know. I actually feel that that might have been a slight mistake. I feel like it was way too big. So I'm gonna kind of make that change. We all make mistakes, okay? Don't be afraid to just stop this video and go back if I'm going too fast. But we have the opportunity to slow things down and start things back up. So I encourage you to do that. I still feel my hand is just too big, especially once I do my flip. So that's one thing that you always want to make sure that you're doing a little bit of adjustments with those flips. Don't just flip after you've done drawing. Make sure that you're flipping all the way through this drawing and you're actually making these changes, okay? It's not bad. I'd maybe make that a little bit smaller and I think I'm ready to go. Don't be afraid to make changes. Don't be afraid to flip, erase, draw, flip, erase, draw. Flipping is animating. This is the whole reason why you're here. So don't be afraid to put your pressure on your left finger, hold down your paper and flip and make sure your animations are on point. Okay, I'm gonna blow my face out here a little bit, just so when I animate, I can actually see it. So far, so good, okay? Now, this isn't pose-to-pose animation, this is straightforward animation. We're just drawing one drawing to the next drawing, to the next drawing, to the next drawing, okay? We're gonna get to pose-to-pose a little bit later, but right now, we're just learning the basics. I'm actually gonna go grab another piece of paper. So let's do frame 5. So I'm gonna put frame 5, a new piece of paper over top of this. New piece of paper. New piece of paper. I'm gonna do our magic shuffle. Boom, 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 boom. Our magic shuffle. Okay. I'm gonna pop our paper down here. One of the first things that we've been doing is we go frame number 5, okay? Frame number 5. I'm actually going to draw our horizon lines. Let's just get that in there. Let's get that done. Okay, now, you know the drill. First thing that we do is that we are going to draw the head, okay? So I'm actually going to create this head right here and do 3/4 perspective, but I think for the first time, I'm actually just gonna keep the head down. So let's make sure that our object has been falling, our object falls down, and then our character's looking at it. And we can have our character kind of looking at it and also changing expression. So I had a character that was very much sad. I'm going to make a character that is very much mad. I'm going to change this expression. Okay, bring the bottom eyelids down, one eye big, one eye small. Okay, bring those eyebrows down a little bit more appropriate, and maybe half those pupils a little bit, just to kind of add to that little kind of curious anger. I might open the mouth a little bit. What is this thing? I'm not gonna change any of this. Let's just keep this rolling for a little bit. These arms, I mean, we worked hard to get them up here. Let's just keep them up here for a little bit. Let's save us some energy. You know, that's the one thing about animation is economy. It's like, how much work can you not put into this to be able to pull off what you need to pull off? What can you focus on to really kind of give this character life without spending all this energy that really isn't going to help the character at all? You need to feel, you need to be creative when you're doing animation. You maybe can just keep the character standing and just move the head, or keep the character standing and just move the eyes and an arm. You just need to be creative. You don't have to move this whole character all at once. Okay, I'm just going to draw this. We're going to keep this floating for a couple frames, this body. Okay, for the first time, we don't have to draw the whole body or the arms or anything like that. We can just trace. Okay, forgot my foot right here. I'm gonna do a flip. See my character. One thing I just noticed is my nose. My nose should be an exact trace because my head has not moved. So my nose should be an exact trace. Okay, my expression should just go straight down there like that. Okay. Okay. New piece of paper. New piece of paper. New piece of paper. New paper. New piece of paper. I'm going to put a new piece of paper over this. I'm going to do our magic shuffle. Now, if you feel you have too many pieces of paper, sometimes you can get a lot. It makes it harder to shuffle. That's up to you. You can get rid of some of these. You can put them down the side. The whole idea is that they have numbers on them. So, like this, number 6. So you're not going to get them out of order. That's one of the reasons. So if you feel like your stack is too high, just get rid of some, okay? Do our magic shuffle. I'm going to get our paper down here. Okay, now, one thing that I see right now is I'm going to go straight to my character's head. Now, I think this is a good opportunity to change our character's expression, okay? Now, I want to make sure that our character's still 3/4 perspective, head down. So I'm going to put my little line in there, 3/4 perspective, head down. Okay, I'm going to put my eye line on here so we know where our eyes are. Let's change the expression. Let's all of a sudden let the character really realize what's fallen down. And they're actually pretty happy. So let's really make one eye big, one eye small. Let's really get those eyebrows pretty high, okay? But let's keep those pupils looking down, okay? Keep those pupils looking down. Okay. I'm gonna get our nose there. Our nose is gonna stay exactly the same, but I'm gonna switch it up. Let's make a smile. Let's start a smile coming out. My ear is gonna stay the same. Okay, so we're just running through all these expressions here. Okay, let's keep one arm the same. I like this arm. Let's just trace it. Okay, but I'm gonna have to say it's time to mix it up. Okay, it's time to mix it up. We're gonna get a little bit more complicated in here. Okay, I'm gonna do just the center of my body here. I'm gonna make sure that's the same. And you know what? I'm gonna bring my arm down. I'm gonna bring my arm out a little bit, right at my elbow, and then I'm gonna kind of bend a little bit. And then let's make a new hand here. We're just gonna be kind of seeing the outside of it. So let's make sure that we see the thumb and this finger right here, and then all the rest of them could be a little bit smaller. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a bend to these legs. So I'm actually going to kind of come out, add a little bit of bend, make sure that we don't lose our taper. So I'm going to start to bend these legs a little bit. Okay. Our feet don't necessarily have to change. They might move a little bit. Let's see how that looks. Okay, I'm going to get my horizon line in there. Okay everyone, nice job. You got 6 frames done of an animation. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to teach you squash and stretch. It's a very important principle of animation. We're going to come back and we're going to use those principles on this second character. I'll see you soon.